like to welcome everybody to the Coaches in the Mouth pod. This is Coach Jeff Williams along with Coach Daryl Fimple in the Mouth, Brent Bender. Before we get started, let's thank our sponsors. The Coaches Pod Network is powered by Lindsey and Associates. Our Player of the Week is sponsored by C.R. Crawford and Construction. Other sponsors, Sports Clip, the Pigs brand, Hootens, and we are the official podcast of the ARFCA. Daryl, let's get into it, man. A lot of last-second games this past week. I mean, people scoring with 1 second left. Unbelievable. What'd you find? What'd you learn from this past week?
Well, I made a lot of picks, I think, that motivated people this week. I got the Colts on the right track. Colts with a big, huge win right there. Yes, motivated those guys. Man, they had some great football games, though, this week. Unbelievable. I mean, you could start with any and all of them, but, Rivercrest that was an unbelievable game. That was just back for EPC. You want to talk about some athletes on the field? That was unbelievable. And then you could start seeing some guys figuring out their identity. You had 84 points scored by Rutgers. 84-40. They gave up 40 and still won. But I mean, I don't even know how that happens. But that's absolutely amazing. And we have figured out right now in the largest classification in Arkansas. You got one team that's battling the West right now that's on that case. And the West is going to be wild, man. It's going to be wild.
There's no doubt in 7A. And then, I tell you what, the Harvard Wildcats really pushed Greenwood big the other night. And we'll have our guest picker. He was there, and we'll talk to him a little bit about it. Well, let's get into it. Big performances. Obviously, one of the big performances, Pocahontas beating Brooklyn with 1 second to go. Talk to us about our C.R. Crawford Construction Player of the Week.
Yeah, our construction player of the week. He was definitely building something there. That's for sure. I think I've heard that we were throwing it out of bounds so we could rest him a little bit. Xavier Ballard. Xavier Ballard had 41 carries, 240 yards rushing, and 4 touchdowns. Punched it in at the end to win one for Pocahontas in a big, huge win. But man, what a performance by that kid.
Yeah, just carried it, man. Got him in there late. Well, let's get to it, man. A lot of shakeups this week, man. You got the top 6, Fimp's top 6. Here we go.
It should be interesting right here. All right, we're going to start out at number 6, a new one to the fold right here. After a big, impressive win last week over Junction City, the Smackover Buckaroos. Yes. My mom's old hometown right there, buddy. The Buckaroos are rolling. Quarterback, phenomenal play. Mitchell Polk. He's on a tear right now for Smackover. Sliding in at number 5. All right, they're making a believer out of a lot of people here. All right, Gosnell, man.
Yes, dominated.
Another huge performance from Mason Wood. 31 carries, 284 yards, and 4 touchdowns against Osceola in a 63-24 win this past week. I think Gosnell is for real. All those junior high championships are paying off.
Yes,
see?
They are.
What happens when you build a program from the ground up? Gosnell's going to slide at number 5. Number 4, Fordyce Redbugs. Big win this past week, 51-0 over Mineral Springs. I think they're just getting loose right here, getting ready for conference play. Number 3 with a big win, too. Sliding in there is Dardanelle. Sand Lizards are going to come in at number 3 after a 28-26 win over Nashville this past week. Our number 2 team in small school is going to be Salem. Salem just keeps rolling, man. 46-12 win this past week over Newport, which we thought, Newport's going to have some skilled people, give them some respect. No. Salem just keeps motoring along, man. They don't turn it over. They're really good defensively. They're a team that's they're on a mission. Our number 1 team, keep finding ways, man. Arkadelphia, the McCoy to the Robert kid, Cortervi and Morris gives them a big play threat too. They end up beating Lake Hamilton 36-28. It was a late score there on a big, huge drive that ended up winning that game for them. So Arkadelphia is going to stay in our number 1 spot. You guys also mentioned, you got to mention Little Rock Mills is still moving on. Southside Batesville, another team that's moving on. EPC, even though they got beat, you know how I love my Colts. My Colts, we're ready to ride. All right, we're coming on. We're figuring some things out. Coach Harden's got us. Carlisle's got a big, huge game this week with Desert Crosstown rivals there. Hey, Uncle Bo's figuring it out a little bit. It might be a little bit different, but man, Joseph Steen's a phenomenal player. You got to look out for Elkins too. This is a big week for them too, coming off that loss a couple weeks ago. So that's the ones to look out for. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot of football to play.
Well, you hit it. I think that Arkadelphia bunch, they're just finding ways to win. Salem just looks impressive every week. All
Woo,
right,
man.
let's go ahead to your big school.
Big school, man. This is going to be some shaking up right here. All right,
Yeah.
yeah. This is a shake up point. Number 6 is going to come in my Greenwood Bulldogs.
Oh,
I
dropped a little
know,
bit.
I know. Archer Magic. That's what we've been
Yeah.
living on. We've been living on a lot of Archer Magic right now. So you hope that doesn't run off of, man, what a heck of a schedule they've played too. They're only getting better, but man, defensively they're a little banged up right
Yeah.
now. They're going to have to get a lot more healthier on that. Number 5, man, they just keep stacking impressive wins. It's Joe T. Robinson.
Yeah.
Deuce Williams went over 300 yards total offense against Lakeside. They ended up beating Lakeside 35-16. Man, their secondary skill guys are really, really good, and their offensive line is really, really physical
Mhm.
too. They do a good job. They don't beat themselves. Fayetteville's a little different,
Yep.
offensively. Their quarterback's phenomenal, great offensive line. But man, I tell you what, I really like their defense, especially the front seven. I think they're really good up front too, and then you're going to have to be in the West to survive it. Number 3 is going to be the Rogers
Yeah.
Mounties. The Mounties are the real deal. Reagan and Lindsey and the whole gang there, they added the Kramer kid, gives them that added ability to run the football and, kind of stay in the box there. But man, they can find ways to score. And then defensively, they gave up 40 points to Sheridan, but a lot of that was, I'm pretty sure there was second, third teamers in there by
Yeah.
that time
Yeah.
because the score was getting out of hand. But I really like Rogers, especially offensively. Number 2 is going to be Bentonville. Bentonville could be 1B
Yeah.
in this scenario. Man, they're so good offensively. They got so many weapons, and then defensively, man, they're really stout, especially up the middle. So I really like Bentonville at number 2, and number 1 is going to be Bryant. Coming off a 49-6 victory over Parkview. Man, Coach Sanders has got those guys.
Oh my
I
God, they're
mean,
just
that dude
rolling,
was
man.
focused on what happened in 22. That guy's got them rolling there. They got so many weapons. Robinson and Hodge both combined for 4 touchdowns, 2 apiece on the ground. Both quarterbacks came in through 3 touchdowns. They're those 2 teams are so complete. It's hard to pick one over the other. I can't wait till they stay healthy and actually meet each other. Also, here's an also for you, Cersei, baby.
Yes.
Cersei.
Yes. Yes.
Cersei's got people talking. All
Yes,
right.
they
Just
do.
hope we don't screw it up. All right. So we hope we don't screw it up. Man, the Hickman kid's a heck of a player on defense. I mean, they're a really solid team. They can run it. They can spread it around. They're sophomore quarterbacks. You can tell that Zach's done a great job with him. Conway's still in there this week. They showed a little defensive prowess,
Yeah.
keeping Marion
They're
out of the
good.
end. Shiloh Christian, even though they lost this past week, is one to think about. You think about people challenging,
Yeah.
in that classification. You think of them coming to the forefront there. I like the Morrilton Devil Dogs. They figured
Statement
out.
game.
They
Statement game,
figured out how
baby.
to tackle. We're still working
Yes.
on tackling. I like it. I like it. We're coming around there. Fort Smith Southside's another one to look at, guys.
Ah.
Fort Smith Southside, big impressive win this week. Offensive line's really, really good. Quarterback's a veteran guy back there, can move it around a little bit. They just got after Central from the get go and really played a good game there. Still talk about Parkview and Farmington just looking on the outside. Farmington just plugs in another quarterback and
Yeah.
and wins a game there.
So I won. That's what they do,
Yeah,
man.
that's all you got to do. So you just got to win by 1. I guess that's the philosophy there. And
Yeah.
Coach Tice, he's living on the edge. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but I don't think living on the edge.
Listen, man, he is every
Yeah,
week,
man,
man.
we got to get a blowout somewhere in here.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Give the guy a
conference
break. Give the guy a little
conference is
break, man.
rolling in. There's
Yeah.
no doubt, no
No
doubt.
doubt. Well, we got your top 6 there, man. I'm with you. Bryant sit there, dominates Parkview, looks like just unbelievable. Benville's just a machine. Rogers is Rogers, and then Fayetteville, and then one of the probably we talked about it last week was a little bit the Robinson. I mean, what they were going to do at
Yes.
Lakeside, and I think that was a huge, huge statement game. Well, let's go ahead and do this. Let's bring on our guest picker, former coach of P Ridge, former Arkansas Razorback, one of our main guys who we love on this show, Coach Bray Cook. Coach, welcome to the show.
Hey, Coacher, thanks for having me. It's an honor to be here with you gentlemen.
Well,
Beautiful. this is what happens when you get out of coaching on a Sunday. You get out of that office and you find the golf course, So, and I guess you podcast. So
Exactly. Exactly.
Priorities first, man.
Exactly.
no
Well, Bray,
doubt.
talk to us a little bit about this. You were at the Harbor Greenwood game. What
Yeah.
did you see? That's one of the most exciting games of the weekend. I mean, you watched Harbor quite a bit, but then Greenwood came to town last play of the game. Talk to us just what you saw.
I mean, it's been fun to watch Harbor from these first 3 weeks of the season. They start with Broken Arrow, they shoot themselves in the foot a little bit, have some penalties, some fumbles. They clean it up at Farmington and have a great game there in Farmington week 2, and then Greenwood comes to town, and you see a third step for them that they took and gave them a shot to compete with Greenwood the entire football game. But then, of course, Kane Archer is that guy, and they put the ball in his hands when they needed it, and he found the end zone for a late 2-point conversion, I think, with 13 seconds left in the game to give it to Greenwood. But man, it's been fun to watch Harbor take those steps. But what an electric offensive football game there in Springdale.
Yeah, no doubt. This is unbelievable. A lot of games like that. Well, let's get into it. Coach Bray, like we tell you, this because you watch our show every week and you're part of our program. Make sure you pick with your heart. I mean, your brain, not your heart. Okay. Make sure that you'll get phone calls, lose a couple friends. It's okay. We don't care. We're just getting down to business. Well,
let's go
ahead.
I learned last week I picked Parkview. And I picked with my heart, and I did not pick with my brain. And Bryant made me pay for that one. So I'm 0-1 so far on these picks.
I got you. Well, let's get into it. Let's look at last week's. All right, I was 8-2. Coach Fimple was 7-3. The Mouth was 7-3. Our guest picker, Coach Randy Coleman, was 8-2. Overall record, Daryl, I'm trying to catch you here. I'm at 21-9. Coach Fimp's at 22-8. The Mouse at 21-9 also, and then our guest pickers are 18-12. Coach Coleman helped out Coach Elmore and Coach Register get back on track here. Well, Daryl, let's jump into it. We got week 3 here. Most teams in Arkansas are on a bye week this week. Got a lot of random games. Kind of tough to put some together, but we still got some pretty good games out there. Let's head down to South Arkansas. We got DeWitt at McGee. This should be an interesting classification difference here a little bit. Talk to us a little bit about this, Daryl.
Well, McGee. The tradition of McGee. That's a big thing in this one. McGee's actually playing at home. DeWitt comes in defensively with a lot of returners on that side of the ball. I mean, they have 7 starters back from last year's bunch. Their biggest problem is figuring out how to score some points. And McGee, of course, is going to have a lot of skilled players in that action. This game, was one of those games that you have to figure out. I think home field is huge in this game, but I also think that DeWitt, with their offensive line coming back, I'm going to take DeWitt in this one. The DeWitt Dragons.
Fimp's taking DeWitt. Mouth down to South Arkansas. These two a little bit. Talk to us about it.
Just a little bit. I'm going to tell you what, this game's going to be really, really interesting to me. But, DeWitt, I don't know if they can score enough points to beat McGee. I think DeWitt's got a great offensive line. McGee's got great skill people. It's on the road at McGee, so I'm going with the Owls.
Going with the Mouse. Coach Bray, Coach Cook, what do you think about this one?
I'm removed from DeWitt a little bit up here in Northwest Arkansas. I made some phone calls. Those calls may have been coaches on DeWitt's coaching staff, but I've got some good information that DeWitt's going to take this one.
DeWitt's going to take this one. All right. Coach Bray's going with that one. I'm going to go with DeWitt also. I'm going with the offensive line. I watched this game actually last year. They played, I believe McGee won in the last second. So I think DeWitt with the offensive lines there back. All right, headed over. This is a big one. This is going to be a really good game. Des Arc at Carlisle. Carlisle's been rolling. Des Arc, couple big wins, Daryl. These two know each other, and I don't think they like each other a whole lot. A lot of big rival here.
No, I heard they're fighting over Nick's barbecue, which big,
huge
brawl going out there. Of course, Des Arc Desert coming off a big win last week. They won 38-7 last week. Carlisle has kind of figured out the quarterback situation there a little bit. He's still got some weapons on the outside too. Carlisle's playing at home in this one, and that's been the big, huge deal in this rival game right here. Of course, this is one of those old school rivals where somebody's getting their probably their field house painted some color or something. There's probably some kind of badness that's going on in the county right here. And probably it's going to be like a fish fry spaghetti dinner night. One of those deals, Booster Club's going to be big in this one. I'm going to take Carlisle at home.
Take Carlisle home. Fimps take Carlisle. Mouth, we love the Bisons, but Desark's had some big wins. They're rolling into town.
They have, and Carlisle has really figured out the quarterback situation since Tankersley has left and playing baseball at Candid. But I'm gonna have to go. I'm gonna have to go with Carlisle and Coach Wilson.
Going with Carlisle. All right, Coach Cook, what do you think about this one?
Hey, you talked about Nick's Barbecue. That place is fantastic.
Yeah,
we hit that on the way. Yes,
Yes.
We hit that on the way back from Mississippi. Some of the best food in the state, and I think that food's going to belong to the Bison tonight.
Going with the Bisons. I'm gonna go with the Bisons. I always take the Bisons. I feel good about this. I think Coach Wilson them's got to have them ready to go. All right, over to God's Country Grin. Rivercrest seems like they're on here every week. At Forest City, Rivercrest comes off a huge win, Daryl. Stop a 2-point conversion. EPC. They've had a Gosnell, boom, EPC. Can they emotionally get back up for this Forest City bunch?
Well, I think Coach Harden's done a great job of kind of figuring it out too. They got beat early, but put up huge numbers in that game. I think defensively they're coming around a little bit, playing those guys a little both ways.
Yeah.
Jaden goes both ways there. He had about 80 tackles last year. You kind of like where they're at right here. This is a road test going to Forest City, but I think the Colts are going to ride again.
Yeah.
They're going to ride tonight. And they're going to put the coat out there on Forest. Forest City's going to be mad because the Colts going to be running around all over the place.
It's going to be running the Mustang, isn't it?
Yeah, you got to look for Buddha and Jada Young.
Yeah.
They found the sophomore running back. He had over 100 yards last week. They've just got some more weapons that they've kind of added to it. You got to remember about Rivercrest too. Their junior high has been really, really good.
Yeah.
When we get in these smaller classifications, these junior highs that are coming up, that's why I think by like week 4 or 5 when conference season starts, you'll really see these teams kind of starting to gather more players around and figure out plans to use those guys.
No doubt. Going with the Colts. All right, Mouth. Over to Forest City, you know them real well. You spent some time there. Talk to us about this.
I know them too well. I'm just going to go ahead and tell you. But I'm going to also tell you, there was not a better game to watch last Friday night for excitement than Rivercrest and EPC.
Oh, yeah, it's great, man.
And Rivercrest is must-watch TV on YouTube to hear the broadcast team of the Colts. Hats off to that bunch. They are outstanding. And it's a battle of two horses going at it Friday night. The Mustang versus the Colt. And I'm gonna have to go with Coach Harden. And the Colts ride again, baby.
The Colts are riding again. Coach Cook, here we go. Over at God's Country. Rivercrest headed over to Forest City.
Hey, Forest City loses by 3 to win last Friday night. They get the week off last week for their bye week. They got 2 weeks to prep. Taking Forest City.
Oh, Coach Cook going with the upset here. Going with the upset. I like it. So you put yourself out there, buddy. So you put yourself out there. I'm going to go with I'm going to go with the Colts. I think they got something going, and I agree with the Mouth. One of the best live streams. Danny Graham and that bunch over there do a great job, and it's entertaining. But I feel like Buddha Harris and the Colts are just too much for these guys. All right, head down to South Arkansas. This one here is really interesting. You got Dumas at Monticello. Everybody was really high on Monticello early in the year. We were. Fordyce goes down there week 0, just destroys everything. Talk to us, Daryl. Dumas coming back. Right next to each other. Talk to us.
Oh, yeah. Once again, you got a kind of a little battle right here going on. Joseph Asilis is the running back from Monticello. He's explosive. Jackson Hines was the starter from last year, too, at quarterback. They've got a pretty veteran offensive line up front, playing at home. Dumas is one of those teams, too, that's got a lot of skill players, can score some points. I don't know about their depth on the offensive and defensive line. Is going to be a question here. But at Monticello, I'm going to take the Billies at home in this one.
Oh, the Billies at home. All right, Mouth. This one ought to be a barn burner.
Oh, this is a great game right here. Uh, Billies have bounced back after their week 0 loss to the Cadillac and Fordyce. They
Yeah.
bounced back. Um, I'm going to take, and Hamburg's having a fine season so far. Well, Dumas, excuse me, I looked at the wrong game. I'm going to go with the Monticello Billies.
The Mouse going with the Billies. Coach Cook, what's your thoughts on this one?
You know, this is another one. Two big teams. This is a big matchup down there in the state. But I'm going with Dumas.
Going with Dumas. Coach Cook going with Dumas. Putting himself. I like it, man. This guy's looking free.
I'm fired up.
Yeah, I like it. Well, I'm going to go with Monticello. I'm going to give them another shot. I kind of jumped on their wagon early, got off. I'm back on a little bit. I'm going to go with the Billies also. I think this is a good one. All right. Also, let's go to this stay in the South Arkansas. This interesting matchup. I've talked to the coaches, different coaches throughout the state. It's about 50% believe in Hamburg and 50% believe in Magnolia. We got Hamburg headed over to Magnolia. Daryl, this will be an interesting game. Hamburg's, a lot of people are really high on them in their conference coming up this year. Magnolia with a win over Nashville early in the year, had a tough loss last week against Bauxite. What's your thoughts on this one?
Well, this is Magnolia gets to play at home. That's big then. But Hamburg, they picked second in their conference this coming year. Caden Thomas is their 3-year starter at quarterback there. A lot of things run through him. They have 7-7 on both sides. I think that's why they got picked so high in their conference seeding here. Magnolia, kind of tricky. And then you look at Bauxite beating them, even though Bauxite I think is pretty good. But coming in this game, they're kind of hard to figure out which is going to show up. They are playing at home, but I'm going to take Hamburg on the road.
Taking Hamburg on the road.
Hamburg on the road. I like quarterbacks that's been there a while.
I don't like it. All right. Mouth, Hamburg, or Magnolia. Like I said, I've polled about 10 coaches, and 5 got Hamburg, 5 got Magnolia. Your thoughts?
It's going to be a heck of a game. Magnolia is having to bounce back from a game with the Bauxite. We'll see how they handle that. Hamburg's going over to Magnolia. Hamburg's got a really good football team. I'm going to go with Hamburg in this one.
Mouse going with Hamburg. Coach Cook, this ought to be Magnolia. We got to try to figure out. Coach Kirby over there does a great job, but we got to figure out where they're at. What's your thoughts?
Yeah, well, we got to figure out where they're at, but I've seen where they've been at before. We went down there for a playoff game a couple of years ago. And I saw those Magnolia football players line up against our kids, and it's kind of terrifying sight to behold. So just based on that information in itself, I'm going Magnolia. I just don't know how you beat those cats.
Coach Cook's going with Magnolia. Hey, you know what? I believe in Coach Kirby. I think he's come there and done a good job putting the spread and had to go back to running the ball a lot more, and he'll figure it out. He's a driven coach, but this one could be a great game right here. I'm going to go with Magnolia. All right, Valonia. Coach Ashcraft put up a whopping 6-3 victory in week 0, played defense, plays Mark Kelly the next week, and Mark in Sylvan Hills, and they just ran all over Valonia. BB comes off not a real impressive win over Greene County Tech this past week. Daryl, does Valonia's defense keep rolling, or where are we at with this one?
Well, last time I checked, to win, you have to be able to outscore the other team.
Yes.
Both of these guys have trouble scoring.
I know.
In Bologna, they got hit. Of course, where the professor is over there.
God, he is rolling. Let's talk about that.
Yeah. You want to talk about averaging? That dude's averaging 52 points, man. 52 points at a team that he inherited that had lost 22 straight games. Now, go figure that. Fixing your culture real fast. Yeah. And how happy is the quarterback that stayed? I mean, the quarterback that stays, phenomenal guy right now. He's loving life. Valonia's had trouble holding on to the football too, turning it over, playing great defense. Got a lot of veteran players back. BB's kind of the same way. Defensive. pretty good offensively, and they're close too, kind of mirror image each other school wise. So I'm going to take
Taking
BB at home.
BB at home right there.
BB
Coach.
at home.
Like it. Mouth, Coach Ashcraft will have them ready. BB, they're 10 miles away, buddy. Talk to us about.
Let me say so. Almost 50 on him last week because Pressure's going to do that to a bunch of folks the rest of the year. So
Yeah.
I don't know that's not a fair indication of how good Bologna.
All right, Coach Cook, you've seen Bologna last couple of years in your league a little bit. BB at home, your thoughts?
Yeah. No, I've seen Bologna up close and personal. They're a great football team. Coach Ashcraft does a great job with that crew. That being said, I'm taking BB.
Taking BB. Coach Cook's going BB. I like it. I'm going to go Coach Ashcraft and Bologna. I think defensively they got it going. I watched BB a little bit against Green County Tech this past week. Both and Daryl hit it. Both of them are struggling scoring, but I'm going to go with Coach Ashcraft. I think he finds a way. Look for a big special teams play in that game. All right. Going up to a bigger classification. Got Little Rock Christian, who's in the Central Conference dominant, against West Memphis. West Memphis, Daryl, has just really struggled the last 2 years. Can they get something back right here before going into conference play? Talk to us about both these squads.
Well, I think, West Memphis has kind of struggled. They can't figure out, they don't take care of the ball real well.
Yeah.
They get on the other side, they've got penalties. That's what happens to a lot of teams. And then you turn the ball over and lose possessions. And they've really struggled. Their defense has had to be out there long periods of time, which isn't good. Little Rock Christian is coming in here, a 3-year starter at quarterback, Kemp Keller. They've got 5 offensive linemen back from last year that's all started. They're a veteran team on the offensive side. Defensively, they've struggled a little bit, especially stopping the run. But this is one of those games where, I'm sure West Memphis is getting to play at home. Coach Newt's probably, circling the wagons on this one. But I think Little Rock Christian is going to be too much for him. I think Little Rock Christian wins this game.
Little Rock Christian. Mouth, over in God's country, Little Rock Christian headed over to West Memphis. Can West Memphis put something together here and give them a game? Oh,
No,
my
they
God.
cannot.
What confidence you have in this.
They cannot. And I'm just going to tell you straight out, I'm going Little Rock Christian.
Going Little Little Rock Christian has no faith in the Blue Devils. Amazing. Oh my God. All right. Coach Cook, here we go, man. Over to God's country, Little Rock Christian at West Memphis. What's your thoughts?
Hey, this is God's country. And unfortunately for the Blue Devils, I think the little Rock Christian is going to come in there and take care of business. It's unfortunate mascot there in God's country.
Yeah, I know. Over in God's country, it could be. I'm going Little Rock Christian too. I tell West Memphis, I'm with Daryl. They got to start taking care of the football. Coach Newton does a good job and all. And hopefully, he can get that deal turned around. All right. We don't usually do this one, but this is a big one. It was one of the best games, probably maybe the game of the year last year. And we don't usually do out-of-state teams because people aren't familiar with them. But this was such a good game last year, we're putting it in there. Fayetteville traveling down to Grimm Stadium in Texarkana, Texas. Last year, this thing was a track meet, more speed on the field. Big challenge for Fayetteville before they start conference play. Daryl, what's your thoughts? And what can you tell us about Texas High? Maybe we don't know.
Well, what we don't know about Texas, let me tell you what Texas High does. They win a lot of games. All right. They win a lot of games and put a lot of people on TV on Saturdays. You can see it all
Sunday. I've coached against over there.
Yeah, there's a couple of those guys on Sunday playing too. It's a legendary program. It's like you said, last year was probably one of the best high school games I've seen as far as an out-of-state school coming in there like that. But Fayetteville with the Hank Hendricks kid at quarterback, it always gives you a chance there offensively. But really, it's their defense. It's so good. Will Caston, anytime you can get former Razorbacks kids and you just puzzle them in there, like I always say in coaching, you can't screw up genetics.
That's
always
right.
helps.
Good genes, baby.
Yeah, good genes helps great coaches become great. That's for sure. And Fayetteville, you gotta like. I'm
Yeah.
sure when Coach Dick actually schedules this every year, he's thinking, man, our conference might be a little down. Well, guess what? It's not. So it's going to definitely get him ready for the conference season. Fayetteville's going to head down there and play at Texas High this year. I'm sure Texas High is going to have this game kind of circled all year long. In this one, it's kind of becoming a rival game there. But I'm actually going to take Fayetteville
Yeah,
on
going
the
with
road.
Fayetteville. Going with Fayetteville.
Fayetteville on the road to beat Texas High.
Then Grimm Stadium, tough place to play. I've coached that place. My gosh, it's tough. You fight fight everything old down there. Even the
Well,
referees. Sometimes the referees a little tricky down there too, buddy. I'm just telling you. All right,
aren't they always?
yeah, here we go. All right, Fayetteville, Texas High, one of the best games last year. Your thoughts?
If it comes close to matching last year, it's going to be a fantastic game. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah,
I believe it was
yeah.
42, 45, 42, something like that. It was fantastic. I'm just going to tell you, I am going with the Purple Dogs.
Oh,
because
cool.
that Hank Hendricks is one heck of a quarterback. And when the fight, if you don't know about him yet, starting when conference play starts, you will know about Hank Hendricks the first week of October. I can promise you.
Well, you're right, and he's a heck of a player, and he makes them go really on offense. All right, Coach Cook, you've seen Fayetteville's a lot of highlights on these guys. Texas High, talk to me a little bit about this one.
Yeah, let me tell you, we spend basically every week with Varsity Vibe rolling through Fayetteville highlights, and there are plenty of them. I'm sure Texas High is a fantastic program. They put a lot of kids in college and the NFL. They do a lot of great things, but I don't see how anybody can take down the Fayetteville Bulldogs this week, especially coming after a bye, 2 weeks to heal up, to get a couple things figured out. And I think they take too big of a step forward for the Tigers to overcome.
And I agree with you. I think you just nailed it. The bye. They got 2 weeks to prepare for these guys. It's not like they don't know them. They saw them last year, and they're going to be prepared. I'm going to go with the Purple Dogs too. They're going to go on the road and drive down that windy road on the way down there, and they're going to come out with a victory. All right.
Can I say something about that game real quick?
Yeah.
The great equalizer for the game, you got to take in, and I still believe Fayetteville's going to win. The great equalizer is the travel that Fayetteville has to going up down to Texarkana. Yeah, that's going to be a great equalizer.
Yeah. No easy way to get there, no doubt. All right, Daryl, here we go. Small school game of the week. We got Mount Ida, who I still believe in, had a turnover against Junction City. That game might have been different. At Bearden. Bearden, a lot of people, they're ranked pretty high there in their conference. Traditionally, it's always been pretty good. Mount Ida's played a tough schedule, but they got them 5 offensive linemen. Talk to us about this one.
There you go. They do. They have 5 offensive linemen that are all 3-year starters.
Yes.
They lost their first game to Junction City 14-16. They beat Jessieville 28-21. Dakota Beachy is their quarterback. Jackson White's kind of their Swiss Army knife. He's coach's kid. They play him all over the place. Like I said, they're big up front. They have 9 all-conference players that are back. So they're pretty experienced in what they're doing. Bearden, on the other hand, had Landon Fawcett, their quarterback's back. They beat Episcopal opening week 64-20, and then lost to D. Arbonne Woods last week 24-55. They have Matthew Chambers back, who's over 1,000 yards last year at running back. They're big up front. Their offensive line's about 250 pounds apiece, so they're pretty big up front. They're at home at Bearden. I think Mount Ida is going to win this game on the road. I just think that the tradition to Mount Ida is is going to be able to travel. They got a lot of kids back, and you got to love the fact they got they got 5 offensive linemen that are 3-year starters.
Yeah, no doubt. Mount Ida, who got beat by Junction City earlier in the year on a fumble, and they've come back here. Tradition. Got that split back veer rolling. Headed down to Bearden. You're familiar with Bearden?
Yes, I am. But I'm going to tell you, one thing that wins is 5 returning offensive. When you got 5 offensive line starters returning on the offensive line, you're going to have a heck of a team.
Yeah.
You're going to have a heck of a team. And when that split back veer gets going, it's hard to stop.
Mm-hmm.
And I am going with Mount Ida.
Going with Mount Ida. Mouse going Mount Ida.
Could be a close game.
Yep, should be a close one and a good one. Coach Cook, your thoughts on this small school game of the week?
Well, I'll be honest with you. Listening to y'all talks got me second guessing myself a little bit. But my unfamiliar, I'm not really super familiar with these teams, so I made some phone calls, and I was told that Bearden is going to take this away. But some of the points y'all talking about, some returning offensive linemen and some culture, and those are two things that are really tough to beat when you got both of them. But I'm sticking with my guns, and I'm trusting my phone a friend. Give me Bearden.
Coach Cook's going with Bearden. I'm going with Mount Ida. I love Mount Ida, and I love that offensive line, and I think they're going to make a long run.
We almost swung Cook's Bray's
almost. Yeah, you did.
We started talking about offensive linemen.
Yes,
swung him. Swung him.
Almost did it. All right, Daryl, here we go. Big school game of the week. We got Catholic at North Little Rock, and before we get started, we're going to bring on head coach for the Charging Wildcats, Coach Brad Bolding. Let's bring on head football coach for North Little Rock, Coach Brad Bolding. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Hey, Jeff, thanks for having me. Glad to be back on.
Well, it's good. Well, you guys, let's talk about your football team. You're right in the middle of it. You came in, taking over the program. It was 0-10 last year. It's really struggled the last couple of years. You go up and play a Rogers team, and Coach Fimple has ranked number 3 overall in big school, who's just rolling over. Everybody scored 84 points this past week. And then last week you got a Benton team, and they're coming in there. Y'all get opportunities. You're down in the red zone a couple of times, get some penalties, move it back. Talk to us a little bit so far taking over. You hadn't forgot, is it harder than you thought it was, or, what are you having to do, or what's it look like through your eyes?
Well, I knew what to expect. I haven't taken over an 0-10 team, I guess I took over 0-10 at Parkview.
Yeah.
But that's been a while. So, sometimes I don't want to say forget, but sometimes some of this stuff that happens when you're rebuilding the program comes at you a little bit faster than what you were thought it was, because you hadn't forgot, but like I said, you just you put those things on the back burner. You hadn't had to deal with them in so long, and now that you're having to deal with them again, you're like, oh yeah, I got to go through this to get this thing fixed. But that's the part we're in now. This is the toughest part, probably the toughest part of turning a program, is when you start getting into the season, and the expectations are you're to be better than what you were last year, and so that's what our goal is. That's what we're trying to do every day. And I'm really proud of our players. We're up to about 92 players. I think they had like 52 last year. And we're in the weight room 3 days a week during the season. We're in 5 days a week when it's not in season. And, those guys are really bought into it. I told someone the other day that I think I've worked these guys harder than anyone I've worked in all my career in 30 years of doing this. I don't think I've ever worked a group this hard. And they bought into it. It was ugly at first. There's a lot of guys that, people were leaving and getting out of the program. You couldn't even keep up with all the kids, because they found out real quick that this was going to be something that was not going to be a cakewalk. It was going to be very difficult to be a part of this team. And so we got through all that, and now we are, obviously here to the season. And we started off with El Dorado and scrimmaged them, played them well, and did well out there in that scrimmage game. Ended up beating them in that game, and then we went to Rogers. And I'm gonna tell you something: that team's as good as Bryant was last year. Excuse me. A lot of people are raising an eyebrow to that, but I've been playing Bryant for like 5 years now, and they are a very, very good football team. But this team, the Rogers, is very well coached. They're seasoned senior guys that have played and been there and done it. And man, they have fun. Those kids have fun while they're commencing whooping your tail. So I was very, very impressed with Rogers, to say the least. And then Benton, I think that had we been able to come back out the second half and finish that game, I think that it would have been a different score, or we really started kind of getting into a rhythm right before half, and that freaky stuff that happened in the game. Yeah. And I will clear this up. No one had a gun inside this stadium. You're not going to get a gun in this stadium. There's too many too many checkpoints and too many things you have to cross, and they want everybody and check everybody's bag. It was literally just a freak deal. And if you go down over to where the bench, the seat where he was sitting was, literally like a magic bullet. It had to have gone like high, come from up high and down. And I mean, that's the only way. Otherwise, you'd have had to been on a building.
Yeah.
There's not a direct shot. So just to clear that up, I don't want to get off in the weeds on that. That's not my place, but I don't want us to get a bad rap over something that was just a real freak of nature deal. It was just crazy. They still have no idea how it could happen. I mean, when you go out there and look and go to the seat where the guy was sitting at, you're like, how did this happen? And there was people sitting all around him. So we're really thankful that he'll be fine. He's going to be fine. We're just thankful that, football is just a game. We're just thankful someone didn't lose their life over that. So
well, it is, and you hate to say it, but we're going to concentrate on the kids, and that's the main thing. Folks,
right.
Keeping everybody safe. But there's a lot of stuff going on out there nowadays, and we've got to make the world a little simpler. And we're here
Amen.
for football and everything.
Amen.
Let's get into this. You got Catholic this week. You're a big school game of the week. Catholic of North Little Rock, and talk to Daryl Fimple, works there, and he's, in tune with North Little Rock Catholic. The history there's a big rival there. A lot of people don't realize that. There's a huge rival with Catholic and North Little Rock. A lot of kids that go to Catholic from North Little Rock, vice versa. Talk to us a little bit about this. They're a team that always capitalizes off mistakes. And you guys, let's just throw it out there. You've had penalties and things that uncharacteristics any situation when you're going in the first year you're going to deal with. If you can clean those things up, what's your focus this week in practice? Because Catholic will take, can take opportunities. If you give them some help, they'll take it and run with it.
Yeah, no, I think that's a very good question. Honestly, I think this is a typical Catholic team. The kids play really hard. They have no quit. Very well coached, smart kids. Do everything. They try to do everything the right way, and they're pretty sound in everything that they do. I think where we are, like for instance, the other night you talked about penalties. We had 11. This is the first half. We had 11 penalties for 94 yards in just the first half. And of course, I can claim one of those. Ironically, Bobby and I both got one the same night, and I hadn't had one in, I can't tell you, 15 years probably, but I don't think he's ever had one. So, I got one. So I didn't help the cause, and it's just one of those nights where we just, undisciplined teams have a tendency to commit more penalties, and so we want to become more disciplined, and that's one of the things that we try to focus on in practice, and that we've talked about in our meetings today, and that we're our expectations for the kids this next week. We had a meeting already with them today at 3:00, and we kind of laid out that where we're going from here and what our expectations are, because we just cannot continue to have that many penalties. I mean, that we had a touchdown call back, another one time in the red zone. It ended up backing us up where you couldn't even see the end zone. So you take a lot of that out, and some stuff that happened with defensively with some bad eyes. You take that out, and it's a different ball game. And so that's part of building. That's what you go through, and those are the aches and pains of it. You just got to keep your kids believing, and that's where we are. But Catholic's a good football team. They're going to be sound. They're going to get after it, and we're going to have to play good football. We're going to be able to play right out behind me here in the stadium and at our place. So we're excited to be back at home.
Well, you're going to be at home, and this one here. We talked about the penalties. What are some key factors? What's some matchups? Not giving away anything. You think is it line of scrimmage? What's a matchup if you're just watching the game you need to key in on?
Well, I think you can throw line of scrimmage in every game.
Yeah.
See, that's where the game's won and lost, and it'll be that way again this week. But I think we probably have a little bit advantage of speed in the speed area, and our skill guys are legit skilled kids. A lot of them are young, still growing, mentally still growing, and so. But I feel like we match up well there. They just do they're not quite as crazy and moving around as much as they used to be defensively. But they're going to run, they're going to run the option at you. They're going to get in double slot, and it looks like he's reading it. I mean, so they're doing some stuff different offensively and defensively. So, we're having to prepare for that. It's not the same old typical things where they get into 3-3 and they're sending people from
Mars and everywhere.
everywhere you can think of. We'll still work on that. We've actually seen that the last 2 weeks. We're playing Rogers and Benton, so we've had a lot of practice time working on that. So if they do get back into that or anything like that, I feel like our guys will be ready since we've practiced so much for the twisting and the blitz coming from everywhere.
No doubt. Well, Coach, I'll get you off here. Hey, look forward to watching this game, and we'll have you on down the road to your conference. You got some big conference games coming up, fighting the playoffs. Love what you're doing, the way you're building, and just stacking days and getting better every day. And it's very obvious from afar, and those things are going to come for you, those wins and things like that. But you're doing a good job, and we love having you on. Well, good luck to you. Good luck to you, and we'll see you down the road.
Appreciate you, Jeff. Good to see you, man.
Well, crazy game last week against Benton, got cut short. We're not getting into all that stuff, but this Catholic, talk to us, and you're there. Yeah. Catholic and North Little Rock has been a big rival, and Catholic has always played them really well. Kind of give us some history on this, even back when Jamie was there and they were rolling.
Oh yeah, this has always been I think they've played. I think this might have been one of the Thanksgiving games back in the old days, like Hall and all those guys would play on Thanksgiving. But no, Catholic and North Little Rock, the love-hate is a real deal. A lot of those kids that go to Catholic, because some of those guys are from North Little Rock, so it just kind of adds to the fire there a little bit. But yeah, they don't really like each other too much at all. But they actually respect each other. It's always been really good games. It's kind of been one of those series that there'll be a 3-year run here and then a 3-year run here and so forth. So Catholic has always been kind of a big rival in North Little Rock, that's for sure.
All right.
And the best chance I've ever heard, too.
Oh, they get their students tough over there.
Yelling GPA. Yeah. And then I remember our student section, we go to school with girls. We've got girls. It was great. Might be the greatest chance I've ever heard in my life.
You're right there with North Little Rock. What have you seen with 2 weeks with North Little Rock? And then let's break Catholic down. They go in and play Texarkana week 0 or 1. They come out there with a Hail Mary win. But they just find ways to win.
Yes, they do. It's not pretty. It's not they're not real explosive. But man, they don't turn it over. They're really sound tackling. They tackle well in space, and they do a good job. They beat Texarkana with a pass at the end to go 21-20. They got veteran players too on both sides of the ball. Guys that played 3-year starters. Brooke Hatchett's a linebacker there. Philip Blair, Hunter Markham, Evan Scott. They've moved him from the secondary to tailback. He's a pretty good player, and they just seem to find ways, and they'll move their personnel around. They'll run some wildcat stuff. So they're really good. It's amazing how good they actually are, because you think every year that they're going to run out of players, but they just keep finding ways to win there. North Little Rock, last week's game was crazy, but the first half there was 3 possessions inside the 10-yard line that ended up getting penalty, and Coach Bowden, I'm sure, will hash on that. Over 200 yards penalties in the first half. Mm-hmm. I mean, there was chances there to make that a game, and I think it's just trying to flip these kids how to win. And Coach Bolden, he keeps pouring into those kids, so it's funny. I think the quarterback Robert Jackson, sophomore, played really well last week. Kind of banged up a little bit. Jameer Lee, they've got some weapons offensively, and defensively they're just having to play too many snaps. Too many snaps on a team, so they're going to have to lean on their offense a little bit. They are playing at home, which I think is huge, and I think it's about time we start shooting some fireworks. So we're going to need to score some points this week, because we got a bunch of fireworks over there. I think we're going to put Johnny Rice in charge of shooting the fireworks. All right, so we got to make sure that we don't burn the place down. Yeah. But anyway, I think I'm going to take North Little Rock at home. But it's what's scary is Catholic, they were off last week.
They
Got a little
were.
bye in there. They get a little plan going on here. But I think I think this is kind of one of those games that North Little Rock really needs a win. So
Yeah.
I'm going to take North Little Rock at home.
Plain desperate. Mouth, this ought to be a good one. These two, I mean, they get a lot of tradition in both these schools.
Both programs have won a lot of games.
Yeah.
I mean, they've won a bunch of games. Legendary coaches at Catholic like Scooter Register, Coach Johnny Fogelman, just legend. George Losh, just legendary high school coaches in the state of Arkansas, and North Little Rock's not too shabby with legendary coaches, Duke Wells Jr., people like that. But I think it's time for North Little Rock and Coach Bolden to celebrate his first victory since returning to North Little Rock on that new turf after that game Friday night. So I think in a close one, North Little Rock pulls it out.
The Mouth's going a close one. North Little Rock. Bray, man, it go either way in this one.
It could go either way, and again, man, y'all bringing up some big points, and this is a big one for North Little Rock School that I think will eventually be a monster. And we know the coach is capable of building those monsters where he's been. And I think he will there too, but I don't know if he's there quite yet. I think that Catholic comes in and takes one from him as he continues to grow that thing.
Yeah, Coach Cook takes Catholic. Here's what concerns me. I like North Little Rock. I've watched their team. They got nice little kids. Coach Bolden's there. You can tell he's trying to put his fingerprints on that deal. But the penalties, and Daryl hit that 200 yards of penalties. And if you play Catholic with those, and we talked about it, and turning the ball over, they take advantage of that stuff. So I'm gonna go with Catholic. Just base it. We got to get it. If they even clean it up and still 100 yards of penalties, that's too much for me. So I'm going to go with Catholic in this one and everything. Daryl, I mean, do you agree or disagree with that one?
Oh, no, you're 1,000. That's what's killed them in both games, really, honestly, is just just crazy. Like they'll break a 40-yard run. We got a holding call. I mean, we're just kind of snake bit right now. But my thinking is if you clear up any of it, I think you give yourself a chance to score some points. And like I said, I think defensively you could hold up because you could, keep those guys off the field. And, it's a heck of a lot easier to play when you got a win or you got some points in front of you. So that's what I'm thinking about the whole switch here.
I got you. Well, guys, this is the last week. We'll hit a real quick recap. Right before conference play next week, we got, it's all for real. What have you learned in going in these past 2 weeks, Daryl? What are you looking forward to here for the final week of non-conference play?
Well, I'm hoping that everybody stays healthy this week. You want to see everybody stay healthy that way, but you're also going to see kind of what the plan is going forward with a lot of these teams. You got some that are looking for a win going into the conference season. You got some that are looking to stay perfect non-conference wise. And then you got some that are out there really testing themselves, like Fayetteville is this week going to Texas High, which, like the Mouse said, it ain't an easy trip to Texarkana from Fayetteville. I mean, you might as well get ready for that one. But no, I think that, these coaches are still trying to, figure out how to challenge these guys going into the conference season. And I'm telling you, when it gets conference season, from opening week, it's going to be phenomenal.
It is. Mouth, your thoughts? What are you looking forward to this week?
I'm looking forward to the Fayetteville Texas High game. That is one that would be, if you're in that part of Arkansas, it'll be worth it. I don't know if you could get a ticket to get into that game.
Yeah. Going to be a good one. Coach Cook, what are you looking forward? Harbor Wildcats, you're doing some live stream stuff with them. You're off this week. What are you looking forward to?
Well, I'll tell you what, this live stream situation is a little different than the podcasting. There's no editing. You're live and then you're going. So that's been an adjustment for me, let me tell you. But it's been fun. It's been incredible. They do an amazing job with the Springdale Athletic Foundation. So very lucky to be a part of that. But no, I'm excited. What I really want to look for is Bentonville. I'm following Bentonville Friday night. I want to see what they look like. They've got Harbor here next week. And so and they've just looked dominant.
Yeah,
So
they're
far
playing
this
Lee,
preseason.
and they're not on the list. And they're playing Lee Summit, Missouri,
Yeah.
who's a power in
Yep.
Missouri, and they're playing at Bentonville. So I believe
Yeah.
that's going to be most of your attention in Northwest Arkansas is going to be heading up there because a lot of people are off. But I'm
Yep.
with you. That's another game we don't have on our list, but need to mention, no doubt.
Yep. You know, that's one I'll be following pretty closely because I'm interested to see if Bentonville can continue to lay down the hammer and just keep rolling like they have been.
Well, here's what I'm looking forward to. We're getting this week 3, which it's tough. There's most people are off. Who's going to get better this week? What's the adjustments coaches are going to make in this bye week? If you got it, you got one more game, getting ready for that conference play and making that run, especially, you break that down 3 parts of the season, you're getting into the conference play, which is huge. But, just see what some adjustments guys are making. What are people doing overcoming injuries? Because you can't control that and see just what they're going to be doing the next couple of
That's
weeks.
a great point. That's such a big point. We talked about Fayetteville having those 2 weeks going down to Texas High.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's one thing that could come back and bite you. I mean, you get off your routine, and Mouth is absolutely right. That's one thing that makes you a little nervous as a coach is coming back to that routine.
Well, it is, and some coaches love buys, and so, if you're playing well and healthy, they want to keep going, But you're right. I think that who's going to come out. We had a buy, and it usually took about midway through the first quarter to get back to game speed because we're just creatures of habit and everything. Well, guys, before I get off here, I want to thank our sponsors again. The Coaches Pod Network is powered by Lindsey and Associates. Our Player of the Week is sponsored by CR Crawford Construction. Other sponsors, Sports Clips, the Pigs brand, Hootens.com, and we're the official podcast of the FCA. Make sure, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. That's what keeps us going and everything. Well, for Coach Jeff Williams, Coach Daryl Fimple, the Mouth Brent Bender, and Coach Bray Cook, we'll see you next time.